When discussing originality in art, people often imagine artists creating something entirely new, independent of previous work. In reality, most artists are deeply influenced by what came before them. They study earlier styles, techniques, and ideas, then adapt or reinterpret them in personal ways. This process does not mean that originality is absent. Instead, originality often lies in how influences are combined or transformed. An artist may borrow a technique from one tradition and apply it to a different subject or context, producing something that feels new even though its components are familiar. In this sense, art develops through continuity rather than sudden breaks. However, the relationship between influence and originality can create tension. Some critics argue that excessive borrowing limits creativity, while others see it as a natural and necessary part of artistic growth. From a historical perspective, many movements once criticized as unoriginal were later recognized for redefining artistic possibilities. Thus, originality in art should be understood not as isolation from the past, but as an ongoing dialogue with it.
Artists often create their work with certain intentions in mind. But once an artwork is presented to the public, its meaning is no longer fully controlled by the artist. Viewers bring their own experiences, beliefs, and emotions, which shape how they interpret what they see. As a result, the same artwork may generate multiple, even conflicting interpretations. This does not mean that interpretation is entirely subjective. Visual elements such as composition, color, and symbolism provide clues that guide understanding. However, these clues are rarely precise instructions. Instead, they function as starting points for interpretation. Museums and critics may offer explanations, but these too represent interpretations rather than absolute truths. In some cases, artworks become famous precisely because they invite debate. Their ambiguity encourages viewers to question assumptions and engage more deeply. From an educational perspective, this openness is valuable because it promotes critical thinking rather than passive observation. Therefore, artistic meaning emerges through interaction between the artwork, the artist's intentions, and the viewer's perspective.
The materials artists choose can significantly affect how their work is perceived. Beyond practical concerns, materials often carry symbolic meaning. For example, using recycled materials may suggest themes of sustainability or social responsibility, while traditional materials like marble may evoke ideas of permanence or historical continuity. Artists also respond to the physical properties of materials. The weight, texture, or fragility of a medium can shape both the creative process and the final outcome. In some cases, artists deliberately select difficult or unstable materials to emphasize ideas such as impermanence or uncertainty. From the viewer's perspective, awareness of material choice can deepen interpretation. A sculpture made of fragile materials may feel more temporary or vulnerable than one carved from stone, even if both represent similar subjects. Thus, materials function not only as tools, but as part of the artwork's message. Understanding material choices helps viewers recognize that meaning in art is communicated through form as well as content.